What's happening, everybody? This is Earl Campbell here with Eastern Shore Undercover, and we are working on our podcast number 9. Today, we're going to talk about several different things. It's going to probably be one of the longer podcasts that we've done. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the page breaks in the video with the timestamps in the description, so you guys can easily find out, where different things are that you're looking for, and easy to be able to jump around to where you are. So if you have to watch some of it tonight, some of it tomorrow, you'll know where you left off. So last Friday, you guys all saw me shut down, and just take the evening off. Sometimes you just need to shut down and clear your mind away from social media. It was a very, very rough day for me and my wife. So I decided just to shut it down and enjoy the night. We watched some TV. We caught up on some shows that we were behind on. And we went upstairs and went to bed, and I always play around on my phone before I go to bed. And Miss Eastern Shore Undercover, she went to bed a little bit earlier than me, and I was having a hard time falling asleep. A million things on the mind. So I jumped on Facebook, and I saw a friend of mine who I just recently became friends with. He made a post about, his opinion on encryption, and he gave his reason on why he felt so strongly about transparency and why he was so against an encryption. When I read his post, I had no idea that him and his wife had lost their daughter. And when I read the post, it absolutely crushed me. I'm not going to give any details about what he said out of respect for him and his wife and their family. But it got me thinking about some incidents that have happened here on Eastern Shore Undercover. And one in particular that I wanted to go over with you guys tonight reminded me of what he was saying in his post. And so I thought long and hard about it over the last 2 weeks and debated upon whether I was going to share the incident with you guys or not. And I figured, I would share just one story where we played an important role to what, basically the same thing what my friend was saying. So let me first start by saying that we rarely, if ever, share these types of stories. It's not easy to talk about some things, and I've said this to many people. I'm my own worst enemy when it comes to talking about all the good stuff that Eastern Shore Undercover does in the community. And I don't really talk about it because ever since we started this page, I felt that when you brag about something, and it's just, I don't know, it gives off an ugly vibe. And so I just don't do it. But in this case, I'm going to, and I hope you guys will understand why. So this story goes back a few years, and I'm going to jump around here to break it down for you all. So before anybody says anything, I reached out to the family, and I made sure they were okay with me talking about this. They are tremendous supporters of Eastern Shore Undercover, and have graciously agreed, without any hesitation, to yes, by all means, talk about it. So we're gonna go over this with everybody, and to start off, it happened in the summer of 2022, and I don't remember if it was Labor Day or if it was Memorial Day or July 4th. It was one of the big holidays. And there was a motor vehicle crash, and we posted on our page. And in that crash, there was a young lady that was injured very badly with life-threatening injuries. She was flown to shock trauma in Baltimore. And I don't remember who was handling the incident. I want to say it was Maryland State Police, but I could be mistaken. Not 100%. If it wasn't them, someone else, I apologize. But regardless, I heard them say multiple times on the radio that they were having a hard time contacting the family. They weren't able to reach the next of kin. They weren't able to find a boyfriend. No one lived at her house. They They went to her address on her license. They couldn't find anybody there. So basically, they were not able to contact anyone from this young lady's family. Keep in mind, we heard them say that many, many, many times. So about 45 minutes later, after the call was posted, my wife got a message on the page from a lady who asked us some details about the crash and informed us that her daughter had dropped her off and her husband off at BWI Airport, where they were going away on their anniversary vacation in Hawaii. This lady, she gave us information. She reached out and said, look, my daughter drove us to the airport about 2.5 hours ago. I haven't heard from her. They were getting ready to get on the plane, but they saw a post on Eastern Shore Undercover about the crash. And mom said that she just had this weird feeling. She said she didn't really have a good feeling, and she didn't want to get on a plane without talking to her daughter. So just so everybody knows, when incidents like this happen, we don't post the details of the vehicles. It's just something that I've always done. Don't want to, scare anyone or put fear in people. And that's for the bigger crashes. If it's a regular crash, I put them in there all the time. But, after doing this for so long, you can tell which ones are serious, which ones aren't. But this lady's saying that her daughter was dropped off, or her daughter dropped them off, and then knowing the distance between BWI and here, and knowing that law enforcement was struggling with finding a family member of this young lady, I asked the lady, what type of vehicle does your daughter drive? And she told us what kind of vehicle it was, and I immediately knew that it was her daughter. It was the same vehicle. It was a unique color. I'd seen photos because people sent in the photos of that crash. So I told the lady that she needed to call law enforcement. I want to say it was Maryland State Police. I'm pretty sure it was Maryland State Police. But she needed to call them, and I gave her the phone number, and I encouraged her, look, before you get on the plane, please just, call these people. Well, lo and behold, it was her daughter. And they literally found out 10 minutes before they were going to get on that plane to go on their vacation. They immediately left BWI and went directly to shock trauma, also, which is in Baltimore, to be with their daughter. Tragically and sadly, a few hours after they arrived, her daughter did pass away from the injuries she received in the crash. Now, again, I'm not somebody who's sitting here and trying to take advantage of the system. I don't pat myself on the back or pound my chest and take credit for things. But we became pretty close friends with the family, and, they message us around the holidays. They attend all of our events. They're always very thankful for what we do. They attended the Brew River event. They attended the Texas Roadhouse event. They're always coming to our events, and they're very thankful for what we do, and we're very thankful for them and their friendship. But the reality is, had mom not checked her phone and, not had that unexplainable feeling, they would have boarded that plane and they would have flown to Hawaii, and they would have found out while they were there that their daughter had passed away. And even more important, they wouldn't have had that extra few hours to spend with their daughter. And that wasn't the case because they checked Eastern Shore Undercover 10 minutes before boarding that plane. And that afforded them the opportunity to spend a few hours with their loved one before she passed away. Now, for everyone that says, Eastern Shore Undercover is bad, it's not good for the community, that it's the devil, ask yourself this. If you were in that family's position, how would you feel then? How would you feel if your loved one were in the same set of, circumstances? And would you feel the same way? Would you be thankful that there is a service, a platform that can provide information into the community Or would you still sit there and complain about what we do? Seriously ask yourself that. You've all heard me say it. Some info is better than no info. And unfortunately, there are times when there is no info and families just don't know. And when I read my friend's post that night, and I read it again in the morning, the next morning, it crushed me. It absolutely crushed me. They say that things happen for a reason. An example of that is her mom. The mom checking her phone for whatever reason before getting on that plane, and because of that, she was able to spend the extra time with her daughter before she passed. Well, my friend put that post up, how he feels about, information and encryption, and shared just a tremendous touching story. And in a weird way, it was, confirmation that, we needed to hear, to know that we're doing the right thing, and more emphasis on continuing to do what we do. Hearing his story and knowing the story that I told about, this other family, they're two stories that are vastly different in the end. And they both give you a reason of why, Eastern Shore Undercover is so important. So, a lot of people don't realize it, but, cops don't have the easiest jobs. And sometimes they just can't get that info out to people, whether it's the police department, fire department, EMTs, whoever it is, if there's no one at that address where they go, it doesn't make it easy. And if there's no phone number on file, and they don't have a way of getting in touch with someone, like in this particular incident, makes it very difficult. So if we can help one family, then all the bitching and complaining that people do about me and about Eastern Shore Undercover and about how we operate, it's all worth it. So moving on. Next part of the podcast that I want to talk about is about our county executive, Julie Giordano, and about the county executive position. Sorry, folks. Sorry about that. And about the complete whack jobs that are pushing for this absurd agenda. So let's start off with a negative, and then we'll get to the positive at the end. So the negative, without question, the folks pushing for this agenda in the Wicomico County Council. This agenda and the ballot initiative was brought on by the county council, and it's being presented in such a confusing manner that they're hopeful that people will walk into that voting booth and just push a button. They want to confuse you to the point that you don't know what it means and what it, I don't really understand it, but I guess we'll just push button. Yeah, we'll push yes. And that's not the right way. So I'm hopeful that over the next 30 days, we can use this platform right here on Eastern Shore Undercover to better educate the community and to show people the differences. So before I do that, I want to make everyone aware that tomorrow night at 6:00, there will be a panel discussion featuring multiple panelists and speakers. Basically the same thing, to help educate everyone in our community and to help you make a better informed decision come election time. Now, this is going to take place at Assembly Hall in Guerrieri Academic Commons at the Salisbury University. And look, whether you're for it or against it, strongly encourage everyone to go, at least hear what they have to say. I will be attending, and I will do our best to bring back coverage from the event. It's hosted by the Greater Salisbury Committee. It's also hosted by the Chamber of Commerce and PACE, which is Public Affairs and Civil Engagement at Salisbury University. So it sounds like it's going to be a good event. like I said, I will be there to check it out, and we will bring back some information about it. So with that said, there was a recent mailer that was sent out, and people received this, I guess, starting on Friday or Saturday. I'd have to go back and look at when I first started getting messages about it, but if you bear with me here just 1 second. So it was on Friday and Saturdays when I started getting messages about it. And I'm reading something. I'm trying to find something. Okay. So I wanted to address this mailer in particular because there's a lot of misleading information on here. It's another incident where those who are voting for this change are spreading ignorance and just disgusting information out there, hoping to confuse people into voting a particular way. So let's break down the mailer into pieces, front and back. Let me say that I do not have a copy of the mailer. For whatever reason, I never got it, but I have seen screenshots of it. There have been multiple people that have posted it. So I've seen it with my own eyes, just haven't touched it. And a lot of these posts that I'm going to show you basically debunk their claims. So let's go to the front of the mailer first. On the front, they use the quote from Wicomico County Sheriff Mike Lewis that says, and I quote, "We want the citizens of Wicomico County to vote for Amendment A. That's what we want." Now, let's take a few things into considerations for starters. Mike Lewis said that on August 6th, which was at the council meeting where they talked about the MOU for the media outlets here in Wicomico County. Now, this particular meeting was about Eastern Shore Undercover and the county executive. And this was the same meeting that Mike Lewis himself lied countless times. That is 100% a fact, not an opinion. That is a fact. If anyone needs to be shown where he lied or what he lied about, I will gladly take the time out of my day and show you. We've talked about it in several posts. We've done it in podcasts. So hopefully everyone knows by now that with the proof that we've showed, there was a lot of lies that were told that day. And they'll be addressed down the road. But again, that man boldface lied. And as you've all seen, we've been over this countless times. I'm not going to rehash it here again today on this podcast. Again, if you need help finding a podcast from the past, go on YouTube, or if you need more help, shoot me a message and I'll show you. So secondly, they used a photo of Donald Trump on their mailer. And I'm assuming that's because they can read between the lines and they realize that Trump is very popular right now among the people. So if they use his photo, they will hopefully snag a few extra votes. Now, what is ironic about that is these idiots are trying to get rid of the executive position. However, what they fail to realize is that the president of the United States is the executive position. It's the executive position of the country. So how much sense does that make? Let's use the executive for the country to pitch a spiel about getting rid of the executive on the local level. And by the way, I put this off to the side. Hopefully, you guys don't think I'm like ignoring you. You know, I'm not looking towards you all the time, but it just makes it easier for me. I have my little notes here and I'm flipping to different things so I can make some quotes. So next, they claim that by voting for this initiative, you will be supporting our first responders. And that is a flat out lie. And we will get to that here in a second. That sort of leads into the back as well. So we're going to address both at the same time. So when you read the back of the postcard at the top, it says, this election, public safety is on the ballot in Wicomico County. The reason they've done this is hopefully to get your attention and make you think that if you vote for this, you are helping first responders, and you're not. It's just not. And I'm going to show you many, many incidents where we're going to debunk that. Just be patient with us here a minute. So they go on to claim that the county executive put officer safety at risk with the MOU to media outlets. And like I said, we just talked about this before. Not going to go into it again. It has nothing to do with officer safety. Again, you can't cry that Bigfoot's running around chasing your kids and there's video cameras that show there's no Bigfoot. So not going to spend a lot of time on it. We have several podcasts that, solidify what we've been saying. If you want to see them, let me know. I'll send you a link. So then they claim there's stuff like the proposal was provided to the council late. However, what they don't say is the council and their antics almost caused the county, the taxpayers, to go into, pay for arbitration. And I don't know what that would have cost. I probably should have asked somebody, maybe sent a message over to the FOP. But I can imagine it would cost us a ton of money. And, speaking of waste of money, I just found this out too. Did you guys know that this ballot initiative is going to cost the taxpayers $36,000 to be printed in a local newspaper? $36,000. Is that money well spent? Because I don't think it is. So because the council, call it what it is, they keep getting their ass spanked by a lady that isn't in the good old boys network. They decided to move forward with this ballot initiative only after losing every single court case. Now they're going to cost the taxpayers $36,000. By the way, that's not even including attorney's fees and everything that's led up to this point for their childish behavior. So I want to move on, and I want to talk about this what the postcard is, insinuating about first responders. And I can sit here and I can tell you all the, my opinion of it, but I'm not a first responder anymore. I've been a police officer in, 12 years. So for me to sit up here and give you my opinion on as a first responder, it's kind of useless. Initially, I intended on going out and making a montage of videos. We had so many people that reached out. It was like, well, we can go to Ocean City on this day. We can go to, Worcester County on this day. We can go to Wicomico County on this day. We would have just ran out of time. My wife had a great idea. She said, why don't you just take the posts that they're putting up and use those posts because they've made them public anyway. So why not just use them? And I thought that was a good idea. So I may still go out and do the videos at some point and post them on social media so you guys can see. But I figured this is just as good. You'll see what they have to say. So let's start with our first one here. And this is, I'm going to put this up on the screen for you guys. This is Wicomico County, former Wicomico County Deputy J.C. Richardson. Now, J.C. is a great example of a first responder who, truly appreciates the county executive and how her role helped our first responders. So many of you may or may not remember, but several months back, there was the issue going on with the deputies that were, dealing with the retirement and workman's comp. And one of the county executive's campaign promises was she was going to fix this when she got into office. And long story short, JC was one of those officers, one of the deputies that, was screwed over. As well as Mr. Mike Bowers and I'm having a brain fart. I can't remember who the other one is. Sam Workman. Sam. And all three of those guys were affected by the previous contract. So JC made a post on his page And if you bear with me, I'll tell you when he made it. 2 days ago. So, let's say Tuesday. So Sunday-ish. I'm guessing on Sunday. He says the last time it was a council form of government, the first responders had to collect 20,000 signatures to get collective bargaining voted on by the people. This was due to extreme working conditions. Why didn't you seek help from the administrator? Funny, you asked that we did many times, many times, with no regard. After the citizens voted for collective bargaining with binding arbitration, it took several more years for the law to be written by the council. It wasn't until the first county executive took office that the law was written and signed. I don't know of any first responders that want this. Signed a first responder. So as you can see, JC will not be supporting this, and he is going to vote against it, contrary to what this postcard wants you to believe. So next up, we have another Wicomico County deputy that voiced his opinion, and I will read what he says. I'm going to put it up here for you guys. He says, it tends to make me a bit mad when these people imply I support unconstitutional principles. I'm 24 years strong in law enforcement, and I don't support this trash, nor do my brothers and sisters in blue. They make a stand for the Constitution daily. Throw this mailer in the trash. If you support law enforcement, then vote like a first responder. Vote against question A. And that is from a current Wicomico County deputy. Next, I'm going to put the next one up is from, the deputy I just spoke about, Mr. Mike Bowers. And he says, this amendment is not supported by our local law enforcement. As a 28-year cop, I do not support this. This is false. This is a false comment lumping our deputies and other officers to this stupid amendment. Vote no, question A. Again, vote no, question A. So next I want to show you a comment that was made from a local firefighter who commented in a post, and he said, and this is on a post from another first responder. They said that they voted against funding the city of Salisbury correctly for fire and EMS services provided, all while funding an additional $75,000 to the county volunteer departments. Keep in mind, Salisbury runs 65% of the total calls for service in the entire county, more annually than any other 10 departments combined. So again, another first responder saying, vote against it. Next, we have another current Wicomico County Sheriff's deputy, and that is Bobby Jo Landing, whom, by the way, she recently had surgery and is dealing with a bum knee. So everyone, please keep her in your thoughts and your prayers. And she has an uphill battle with another surgery on the horizon. So everybody keep her and her family in your thoughts. She's good people. We love her here, and we love everything about her, and wish her the best. But she also made a post, and here's what she said. Short, sweet, to the point. She said, this supports first responders. And as you can see, she has the ballot there with the box checked against. Again, another first responder saying, nope. Next one I want to address, I want to put it up here on the screen for you, is another great guy, a sergeant with the Wicomico County Sheriff's Office, Sergeant Jeff Hickman. And on his page, he posted the following. To say I'm a little pissed over this is an understatement. Mom and Dad need to leave the kids home out of this. But to be clear, I will be voting against question A, as most of my coworkers. But feel free to ask them yourself. I don't know who thought this was a good idea, but you don't represent this, in capital letters, first responder. So again, you got a an active deputy that says, I don't support this, vote against this. So next up is a pretty interesting one. So this gentleman is a Worcester County deputy who lives in Wicomico County. It's Mr. Keith Newton. And he wrote a very good articulated post that we wanted to share with you guys. And Deputy Newton says, as a law enforcement official, I must say this is disappointing to say the least. I received the Open Agenda Groogs mailer from voting yes to question A yesterday. I want to address this group directly and the county council if they had a part, in which I suspect they did. First, you did not speak to us. And when he's saying us, I believe that he's referring to law enforcement and first responders. We proudly put our uniforms on day in and day out to provide a service of safety to our county and the citizens that I live in. To our county and the citizens that live in it. We do this without any expectation of favor. We do this out of sheer love for our community. We are expected to conduct ourselves as professionals, no matter what the situation is. And part of that is remaining silent, even in political matters, such as what is going on in Wicomico County. Unfortunately, we are not afforded the luxury to voice our opinions in fear of backlash. So let me be clear to each and every one of you. You have no right to use us as your pawns. This agenda in no way, shape, or form affects public safety. I sincerely hope every voter in the county sees through your deceitful rhetoric. Second, you have quoted the sheriff of Wicomico County in your mailer. I truly hope he did not approve this. I can only assume he did. This is very disappointing. This is disappointing since we are expected to remain silent in such political opinion. I know several deputies that will not publicly make a statement due to fear of backlash. In my humble opinion, I think it's very clear who the deceitful parties have been over the last several months. Your deceit will be your demise. The voters will see through this and will ultimately vote against question A. As you can see, absolutely absurd to say that first responders don't support the county executive position. And the county executive, she is the one who fought for their contracts when the county council caused all kinds of headaches. She's the one that made promises to make their retirement right, to address the workers' comp issues. And while the county council wanted to leave the deputies high and dry, she went to bat for them. And, even Sheriff Lewis, when he was on the Bulldog show down in Ocean City, which, by the way, just mysteriously disappeared. I don't know what happened to that video, but, usually there's where you can go and listen to it. And I went to look for it today, and it's gone. It was removed from existence. So, anyway, she is the one that found a way to get more money to the firefighters than what they were originally asking for. And it just had to come in a different way, in a different manner, which, again, the county council had issues with, caused all kind of problems with, and they're still not funded in Salisbury. So, again, explain to me how the county executive doesn't support our first responders. So, let's move on. I think everyone knows that the county executive position is important to us, and it's our voice. You've all heard me say it, and you've heard many other people say it as well. You take the person out of the position. You take Miss Julie out of the equation and just vote on the position. And I agree with that. But now I want to take and change directions a little bit. We're going to call a spade. And, I know Miss Julie, she's probably going to be upset with me. She's probably going to yell at me a little bit. She's going to send me an email, say, I wish you wouldn't have done that. she's very reserved, and she doesn't want credit for things, and she doesn't want us to talk about all the good stuff that she does. And she'll say, "I wish you wouldn't have done that, Earl." But it is what it is. So I'm going to put it out there, and the person that I think she is, and why I think that Julie Giordano, is good for Wicomico County. For starters, I'm going to start off with the community-oriented events that she does. Not as much here lately because of everything that's been going on, but every time that we have called her or sent her an email or seen her at an event and said, "Hey, there's an event going on in the community, and it would be great, if you just, have you or someone from your office show up." Every single time, without any hesitation, it's always, "Yes, shoot me an email. I'll put it on my schedule, and I'll make sure I'm there." I can call her and tell her the community is having an event tomorrow, and she will find a way to make it there. It's just the type of person she is, because she cares about this county. We have done it many times. I mean, the perfect example is the Lions Club. They were having an event. I called her hours before that event and said, "Miss Julie, is there any way you'd be able to attend this? There's no one that ever goes to these people's events, and there's some pretty, long-time standing citizens that are going to be getting some awards. And Earl, you don't have to say no more. Just tell me what time to be there." That's just the type of person that she is. Every single time, it's yes, I'll be there. If it's involving the community, she wants to go. She wants to be there. Every single police event that we have held and we have hosted, I asked her to attend. I sent her the same email that I sent every other county official. And I'm going to call a spade. Like I said, when we held the Brew River event for Mr. Trooper Jeff Wilkins, I sent her the emails. I sent every single member of our leadership in Wicomico County an email saying, "Hey, this is what we're doing. This guy's family, he's going through some tough times right now. We want to do what we can to help him." Julie said, "I will be there." She came. She had dinner. She brought Bunky with her. They were there. They were at the event. Now, I will say, everybody said they couldn't be there. Mr. John Cannon did come. He spent 10 minutes there, but he showed up. At least he was there. Everybody else, no one came. I was told that there was another event, a grand opening for a restaurant that was being put here in town. Nothing against that restaurant. I think the world of the man that owns it. Not going to mention any names, but several county councilmen said that they were going to this to get food. You can't take an hour out of your time and just come to an event for a trooper that needs help, and then you're going to say that you are for our first responders? No, it doesn't go that way. Miss Julie, she says, "I'm for first responders," and when there's an event, she goes to it. So I don't want to hear, well, this one was there, this one wasn't. No, she was there. It's because she cares about this community. She cares about not only her position, but she cares about making sure the community has a voice. This position is your voice. Miss Julie can go back to being a teacher or whatever she wants to do. I don't know what she wants to do. But if let's say, for instance, the position doesn't go good in the vote and we lose the county executive position, well, Miss Julie would just go back to being a teacher, and she'll retire from being a teacher. So it's not like Julie Giordano needs this position, but I'm here to tell you this county needs this position, and we need Julie Giordano. I encourage everybody, go look at her Facebook page. Just take 10 minutes. Go look at her Facebook page. It isn't locked up. I don't think it's locked up. She's friends with everybody. And you will see this lady out at every single Wicomico County event. I don't care what it is. If it's happening in our community, she goes to it. And if she can't be there, there has to be a reason, either She's double stacked her events, or she's got 2 events going on at the same time. But she goes to all these events, and she this is a lady. She's got a family, and she finds time to do all this stuff. So it's unfortunate, and honestly, it gets me fired up. It pisses me off because here's a lady doing what we need her to do in the community, in the county, being our voice. I can't express that enough. She's not making these stupid decisions. Hell, she just got our county credit rating improved. And this council is doing everything they can to get her kicked out of there. So you got to ask yourself why. Like, why is this happening? And it's an easy answer. It's the good old boys network, folks. I don't care which way you slice it. It is the good old boys network. They want to be able to make all the decisions on what they feel is right. And the county executive, she stands in their way. When you have a county council that does things that courts here in the state of Maryland say is wrong, and it isn't just one time, that's a concern. When the county executive takes them to court and she wins each and every time, that means the county executive is right and doing the right thing, whereas the county council is doing things outside the realm of what should be done. And instead of them accepting the fact that she has been right and doing things how they should be done according to the charter, they can't have that. So now they launched this campaign just to get rid of her and to get rid of the position. So for those of you that don't know, the charter, which is what the county goes by, allows the county executive to issue a contract for less than a year, 364 days. I think it is. I think it's anything under a year. And that's what the people placed in the charter. That's how it was written. It's what we wanted. Excuse me. That was agreed upon in the council. But when she uses it, all hell breaks loose. She isn't breaking any laws. She isn't doing anything that isn't allowed to do by the charter. But because they do not like having the power, they now want to get rid of her and the position. Think about that. Where would this country go if we said, you know what? Let's get rid of the president. We don't need him. Her, him, whoever. One way I kind of think it's comical. Because they tried to beat her. They tried to intimidate her. They tried to bully her into making her basically play by their rules. The good old boys network rules. And she basically gave them the finger and said, nope, not happening. She doesn't back down to them, and she isn't intimidated by them. And they failed at bullying her. So I'm going to close this out with this. A lot of people have asked me, Earl, why are you so demanding on this vote? And, but you're not so animated. You're not so pushy towards the other, the ballot questions and the other pieces on the ballot or the election, such as like Hogan and also Brooks, the presidential Trump versus Kamala. And this to me is basically a simple question, a simple answer. For starters, does anyone think that Donald Trump or Kamala Harris know or care about specifically anyone on this page on a personal level? Most of you all, and I'm not saying this in a degrading way, but most of you all will never have a chance to speak with or talk with either one of those, hold a conversation with either one of those presidential candidates. So why would I go out of my way to fight for either one of those? It just doesn't make much sense. For me, the same goes with Larry Hogan and Angela Alston Brooks. Neither one of them know you on a personal level. Now, look, hold on. Before anybody jumps off and goes crazy, I'm sure there's some people out here that do know those two candidates because they're local here on the state, and they're more local, and many of you, including myself, have met both of them. But the reality is, if Earl Campbell voices his opinion on either one of these two, it isn't going to matter. I'm not going to endorse either one of those candidates. But that's just me. Those guys, I have a different opinion than most people. I think that, the importance of an election is here on the local level. I can't change what happens on the national level. I can't change what happens on the state level. Across the bridge is going to overwhelm us, and I've accepted that reality. But here on the local level, we can make a difference, and we can make it better for our lives, for our kids' lives, for our families' lives. Look, this council, they don't care about you. They don't care about what you think. They don't care about what measures they have to take to get what they want. And they will stop at nothing. There is no doubt in my mind, no doubt, that somehow, if this ballot initiative passes, and they manage to get rid of that executive position, and they get rid of Miss Julie Giordano, they put all the power in their little basket. What do you think's next? Who do you think will be the next person that they come after to get rid of in preparation for the 2026 election? Hey guys, that's me. We've all seen it. Shane Baker has done everything he can to try to get me shut down. Here's a guy that stands proud with Sheriff Lewis during the council meeting about transparency, but contradictory to what he said to me 6 months ago when we had our big argument when he wanted to get rid of Sheriff Lewis. So which way is it? Then he was 100% against Eastern Shore Undercover having an MOU for transparency to provide information to the community. But then went on his social media page, which has now been closed down, went on his social media page and openly said in public that he would support another page, a page from someone who has been charged with a felony and does about 1/100th of the work that we do. But he said he would support them. Then he goes on to pitching that he's all for encrypting the fire channels. And that might work. We've seen that, now they're talking about encrypting the fire channels. And that was the next thing he could use to attempt to shut us down. We've seen this council blatantly lie, accuse me of bribery of a donation we made for an event during a non-election year where I was trying to meet people at an event where business owners were going to be. They slandered my name. They defamed my company with lies in council meeting in a public forum that was specifically about me. They never even invited me or asked me my side of the story. Nothing. So ask yourself, have you ever seen them do this to anyone else? Did they go after any of the other sponsors? No. Did they hold special council meetings for anyone else? Any other business in Wicomico County? No. So what do you think will happen if they get rid of the county executive? What do you think? I think that bullseye is getting placed, not on my back. They're going to put it right here on my chest, and they're going to do everything they can to get rid of me and to get rid of Eastern Shore Undercover by the election in 2026. That leaves us in a peculiar situation because, as long as there is a county executive position, whether that's Julie Giordano or someone else, and as long as, I'll say it, as long as Miss Julie has a voice, and as long as she is in office, I do believe she will fight for us. Now, fight for us as in citizens, not Earl Campbell, but for Eastern Shore Undercover, for this community. I firmly believe she wants transparency in the county. I feel that she has seen a value for what Eastern Shore Undercover does. I feel that many leaders who aren't sitting on that Wicomico County Council have learned a true value for what we do and, what we have done and what we continue to do in the community. So we have to fight for what is right and what benefits us. We use this page to support the things that are best for, with the endorsements for, best for my family, best for this community, and what's best for Eastern Shore Undercover. To allow us to continue without the worry of, the council passing some ridiculous ordinance or, a bill that would stand in the way of what we do. And what we can't say that it won't happen. We just saw it happen out in California. They passed laws where, you can't post certain things on social media now. So it could happen. And, I can't express this enough. Can't be any more clearer than this. They want us gone by 2026. So if you value what we do here at Eastern Shore Undercover, if you appreciate having an ability to continue hearing about local incidents and what is happening in our community, then I, Earl Campbell, Earl Campbell here, I'm asking you to vote against question A. I've never lied to anyone on this page. I've never misled anyone on this page. I've never steered you wrong. I think I've earned that respect the majority of this page. So I need you all with me here. This is by far the most important election of my era. And for the sake of Eastern Shore Undercover. So I need everyone to vote against question A in Wicomico County. Can't say that enough. Vote against question A. That's all we really have for tonight. This podcast went a little bit less than an hour. But like I said, I knew it would be long when we started. We had 2 weeks since we did our last one, so we had some stuff building up and some big topics to cover. So I wanted to make sure we got it all covered tonight. Hey, last thing. I'm going to do it again. I do it, everyone. I know it gets old. We're sitting at 399 followers here on YouTube. Please, please, please take a second and click that subscribe button. It's painless. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps me tremendously. Please. Thank you all for listening to our podcast, episode number 9. And as always, thank you for your support with Eastern Shore Undercover. Vote no. Vote against question A. Thanks.